everyone, and welcome to another episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. I'm one of your hosts, Sheldon McKinney.
And I'm your other host, Ruth Ann Fink.
And today we have an awesome partner to Kentucky FFA in more ways than one. We have Sarah Butler. She is the Recruitment Coordinator for Wright Implement. She has a wonderful perspective about helping students find career paths, especially in agriculture. She's a former guidance counselor, a former FFA member, and she especially is a super advocate for her company, Wright Implement. So, Sarah, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, how about you introduce yourself to our listeners and maybe tell us where your journey with Kentucky FFA began?
Sure. So, we're going to have to go back a few years. But I grew up on a family farm here in Breckinridge County. I actually went to Meade County schools. We were right on the county line there. And growing up, we raised beef cattle and I showed cattle. I was in 4-H. I never actually was in FFA in high school because we did block scheduling and we just you couldn't pick them all. You couldn't get in everything you wanted to get in. So unfortunately, I couldn't do that. But I will definitely say that those same values were instilled in me, from home from a young age and also through 4-H. I decided that I wanted to become a teacher, and I went to Western. I became a high school English teacher. I did that for 6 years, 1 year in Meade County and then 5 years in Mercer County. I came home to be a guidance counselor. A guidance counselor job opened at Breckinridge County High School, and I applied and I got the job. So for 12 years, I did that. So I spent 18 years in the school system. A really cool opportunity came up for me here at Wright Implement, which is just a few minutes from my house. I've driven by it thousands of times probably. Never really pictured that I would work there, because I had the education side. I had the degree in English and school counseling, so I didn't really give that much of a thought. But we talked and they were wanting somebody to become a recruitment coordinator and basically just go into the high schools, find people, hopefully before other companies find those people, and show them the different career opportunities that we have. So our company has expanded quite a bit. So we started in 1936, but we were one store in Breckinridge County until 2006. At that time, we expanded. We now have 15 stores, and they go from Owensboro to Florence. We have 4 in Southern Indiana, and then we go down to Bowling Green. So we cover a lot of the central part of the state. So there was definitely a need there to find good quality applicants, but also to kind of hit those early. So that's where the whole, my background of what I did before just really fit with what I'm doing here. I tell people I've been in more high schools now not working for this school than I ever was when I worked for the school. So it's been really a unique perspective, but it's been something very good for the company and good for me too. It's been, great to make connections all over the state. So
I want to talk about that background you mentioned of your time as a guidance counselor, because everyone knows that guidance counselors are really important people in the school systems. They wear so many different hats. They provide so many different resources to students. What was it that led you to that career path, that change in education from the classroom to being a guidance counselor? And what did you love about it?
So the number one thing that led me there was being able to focus on relationships with students. I found that in the classroom, I love the content. I love teaching English, but at the same time, I loved getting to know my kids more. And I've always had a heart for helping people. It's just something that's kind of natural with me. So I feel like the ability to work directly with kids and understand their story and kind of be that middle person in between the classroom and that student to try to bridge that gap. Because, if kids' needs aren't getting met at home, who cares what you're teaching in the classroom? You have to be able to meet the kids where they are and kind of help them to get to that next level. So that's definitely that's what led me into that. And my favorite thing the whole time has been sitting down with kids and talking to them about, what do you want to do with your future? You know, how do you want to, what do you see yourself as? How do you want to grow and develop? And, you know, it's really cool, especially at the high school level. And that's what I love. That's my jam. I love that age group, but it's really cool being able to see kids come in as, very green ninth grade students, and then develop into a senior going into a career that you know is really going to fit them. And if they don't know what they want to do, being able to help them kind of play off their strengths and see what's going to work for them. So that's really where that started, and that's the direction that took. So
That's so great. And agriculture teachers get to serve the role, as they do offer get so much guidance to students.
Yes.
Great guidance counselors, but what a resource that you get to have if you have a really caring ag teacher, guidance counselor, just adult in your life who's helping you.
Yes.
It's
And
fun.
some of the best teachers, honestly, they may not have the title of school counselor, but that's what they're doing. You know, they're getting to know those kids. They're helping push, you know, and I feel like, and that's statewide, I don't think there are enough school counselors, you know, to be able to help that much. And teachers have a tough job. You know, they're trying to teach all this content, and in some ways be a school counselor too. And my ag teachers, for example, you know, then they're also trying to do all these ag activities on top of this, and it's just it's kind of a crazy storm, I guess. But it's really cool, just to be able to work together. And when I was a teacher, and I tell schools this whenever I go in there, that's my number one stop is the FFA, the ag department, because those kids are cream of the crop. They are kids that don't care to get in and get dirty and do the work. They are kids that, like me, grew up being bossed around, and you know, learning that your first job, you don't get to do the, you know, exactly what maybe you want. You have to kind of cut your teeth a little bit. So it was fun for me to work with the FFA programs as a teacher, as a counselor. But now on the flip side, being able to, you know, see the other side of that and help kind of direct them after high school. So that's been really valuable.
Yeah. Well, you yourself have made a career pivot into
Yeah.
taking your education degree. Now you're working for an agriculture company. Wright Implement is a John Deere dealer. We haven't mentioned that. But what makes Wright such a great company to work for? And then maybe what kind of careers in agriculture or people are you all looking for with different skill sets that maybe you didn't know needed
Well,
in ag?
I'm a prime example. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, just like I said, I've driven by our business hundreds, thousands of times and never thought that's something for me. Or more so thought I don't have the credentials to be able to do that. Um, I did not realize all the opportunities that we do have here. So being able to kind of see that from that side was very interesting. But I think the thing for me that really kind of sealed the deal with Wright Implement is it is a family owned and operated business still. 1936 until now is family owned and operated. People care about each other. You know, we work hard, but you know, we have a good time together too. And I just think we are in a time where everything is by the masses, you know, and you don't have that personal connection and that personal touch. And I think that it was refreshing for me to see that, you know, we all have the same values. And so that was really nice. I appreciated that, and I still appreciate that. And I think as far as the different careers that we have, so we have sales, parts, service, a new one that's it started a while back, but it is blowing up is precision ag. And that one, that's the one that I could talk all day about. I mean, it is so interesting to see what they do. So I'll talk more about that in just a minute. But we also have a marketing department. We also have an IT department. We have payroll, you know, so I'm in the HR department. There's 4 of us here. And so there's just such a wide variety of careers. And I like to start out anytime I talk to a group of teachers or students just about my background, um, mainly because I want people to know that you may completely overlook us because you think, I don't know anything about John Deere tractors.
Right.
If I'm being honest, I don't either. So, but that's not the skill set that I bring to the table.
Right.
So that's one thing that I think is important, to make anything go, you have to have the pieces that fit together. So, Kentucky FFA is the same way. Any business really that you can think of is the same way. Everybody doesn't have the same skill set. So it's important to know what those differences are and how they can work together.
That's so
Yeah, you're so right. And Sheldon mentioned at the beginning of the episode that Wright Implement is a partner to Kentucky FFA in a lot of different ways. One of those ways, which yeah, you all truly are. And one of those ways is last year when we came to some of our trusted partners and said, we have this new program. It's called Kentucky FFA Works. It's really a solution, a hiring solution for
It's
employers.
amazing. Yeah.
Um, that's our hope is that it can really bridge this gap between those cream of the crop students you mentioned and all of these jobs we're trying to hire well for in the industry. And
Right.
Right Implement enthusiastically said, yes, we want to be a
hmm
part of this. We
hmm
believe in Kentucky FFA. That
hmm
is so heartwarming in so many ways, Sarah. I hope you know that, but you all are just like a trusted partner. You really always are backing us. And you were such a spokesperson for this program too. I do want to shout that out. You went to
Thank you.
A camp
hmm
every week this past
hmm
summer, which is in
hmm
Hardinsburg, so right on the
hmm
same road,
Yep.
with
Right
your
there.
office, and talk to students and our teachers about this program. So,
Mhm.
from your perspective, from that,
Mhm.
the company partner perspective of this Works program, we both believe it's a solution. Why? We know why we believe it's a solution.
Yeah.
Why do you believe it's a solution and something that can work for our students and for you all?
Well, my answer is kind of twofold. So the reason I believe that it's a solution for us as a company is because I'm driving a lot of miles trying to gather all these kids together, right? And trying to find these kids. And it is a little bit of a needle in a haystack. I'm not going to go in and talk to a group of 40 kids and hire all 40 kids. That's not realistic. But the reason I think that it works is because our teachers are also awesome advocates for the program, and they're right there in front of those kids every day. And those are trusted people with the kids. So
Mhm.
they may have met me before, but they don't know me like they know their teachers. So when their teachers push this and say, hey, this is a really cool opportunity, you can do one application, you can apply to all these jobs, see what's out there. For me, it's a way to um, cast a net, but get the right fish in that net. So I'm
Yeah.
not having to, um, I still take the time to go visit schools and catch people that way. But I think this is another way where, in the event something was missed, or I didn't get to go to that school, or, whatever the case may be, I can still, hopefully get those students toward us. Now, the other thing is, my time as a counselor, what I found was, you have a lot of seniors who dead set. They know what they want to do. It's,
Mhm.
there's no question that this is what they're going to do. But you also have a pretty large number of students who know they're going to work, and that's
Yeah.
all they know. And what I have found is those students typically, um, for lack of a better phrase, maybe, whenever they see that first waving dollar, that's who their attention goes to, because they think, I need to have a good paying job whenever I graduate. And rightfully so. I agree with that. Um, because I noticed that as a counselor, one of the things that I made a priority was, okay, now how do I get to them before somebody else waves that dollar in their face?
Mhm.
How do I show them that this can be a great career with great benefits, close to home, working on stuff for a lot of these kids they're already working on. They're already tinkering with tractors and stuff. So to be able to kind of bridge that, I think that my experience before helped me see how important it was to get to those kids a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So,
That's right. And we do have a lot of students who are going to work. That's why we decided Kentucky FFA Works can happen. We have
yes.
30% of our students who are graduating are going straight into the workforce. And so we really have created this solution
Mhm.
People have been a super partner, and we hope, this will be airing right when our new application window opens for 2025 seniors.
Mhm.
We really hope to
Perfect.
have a lot of students who are excited about filling it out and seeing what is
Yeah.
good for them. And, you will also work with students who maybe they are going to still take some community college
Mhm.
classes. Maybe
Mhm.
you'll even help them figure out how to do that. So
Yes.
if you're just thinking, I do need to work, I might go to school too, it's worth applying still.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up, Sheldon, because we partner with Vincennes University in Indiana. They are the closest John Deere Tech school. So they have a 2-year associate's degree program where kids go and I call them all kids, I'm sorry, but young adults, but they can go and they can learn everything there is to know about John Deere, and they can come back to our shop and they're ready to go. The advantage to this is they're eligible for up to 100% tuition reimbursement. So we hire them before they go. We pay them while they're working. While they're there, they're getting their education. But then after that first semester, they do an 8-week on, 8-week off schedule. So, for example, we have 5 students in the program this year. They were at Vincennes first semester. Now they're with us until March working, hopefully putting some of those skills to practice. And then they go back in March for another 8 weeks, and then so on and so forth until they graduate. But that's a fantastic program, and there's a real benefit. There's multiple benefits to a student to do that. We are in the works of a virtual John Deere Tech program. So that's kind of been something new, but yeah, so that's exciting. But even students that go to the KCTCS schools, those are also great programs. So we really, we just want young people who want a career and want to do this and want to be better and learn more and expand their knowledge. So whether that's in some of the classes that we house here at the training center, or it's through one of those programs, you're kind of getting to the same destination, just taking different roads. So yeah, just great opportunities for them and things, honestly, as a counselor, I didn't know that they did that. So it is nice to know, and it's nice for me to be able to be the mouthpiece to get that out there. But the Kentucky FFA Works is a phenomenal program, and it is so, I mean, I don't wish other employers would sign on because I don't want them to. But at the same time, it's very valuable, I think. So it's important.
Thank you. Thanks for supporting it.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're in your role as a recruiter. Help us pull back the curtain a little bit and give some
Yep.
tips to students who may be applying for jobs or completing their FFA Works application. When you see, how important is it to have a resume? And what are immediate no's for you on a resume, and maybe some, yes, this one passes the test. Give us
Okay, you have to have a resume.
Okay.
The end.
All the
So
teachers say amen. Yes.
all the teachers say amen. And I tell students, I'm like, I know you're maybe wanting to hear something different than what your teachers say, but I'm dittoing their remarks. But they have to have a resume. And something that I do share, the average time a business spends reviewing a resume is 3 seconds. 3 seconds. So the reason that I share that is because it is vital that I spend more than 3 seconds, but this is a national average. So, but it's vital for these students to put things on there that are going to get my attention. So as an example, if we are looking to hire somebody in the service department, which if I'm being honest, that's the one that we always need. That's a skilled trade. So that's the one that I recruit for the hardest. But if we have students who want to apply for a job in that department, I'm looking for keywords. So I'll tell them what I'm not looking for. I'm not looking for your name. I know what your name is. I already knew what your name was before I got the resume. I'm not looking for where you went to school. You all went to school, right? So that's something I just know I can skip over. I'm looking for skills. I'm looking to get to the skills part, and not that volunteering and those things aren't important. Those are, but you have to make your resume suit your audience. So if I'm looking for somebody in the service department, I need to see somebody who has skills in that. So here's where students sell themselves short. They will take small power in high school through FFA. They won't list it on their resume. List it on your resume, because that tells me that you already have experience with small engines. You already know about a carburetor. You already know a little something probably about hydraulics. Those are things that I think some students, it's so natural for them. Maybe they learned what those parts were when they were 10, but they don't think that's a skill. They just think that's what they know. So to be able to put that in writing, because when I see some of those key phrases, that's what I pull a resume and it goes to the top of the pile.
So for you, are you looking at their ACT score? Are you checking out all that? Or would you rather see, I've mowed 4 yards all summer. I can clean a weed eater and take it apart and put it together.
yes, yes. And that's what the
I want to
teachers
highlight what you
don't.
said of a lot of our students and have many backgrounds. We know that FFA members do
Yes.
not have to live on a farm to be
Right,
successful in
right.
FFA. A lot of our students do though. And that is experience that you said they leave out. And that's
Yes,
valuable. So if you're listening to this and you're like,
yes,
I do have all this work experience, but I don't know how to talk about it because it's just my daily chores. That
right.
stuff matters. You want to see that. Is what I want to
Yes,
highlight, like verbally highlight that.
yes.
Because you're right, they do
And
sell themselves short.
don't wait until the interview to say that, because there's a chance that if you didn't put it in your resume, you're not even going to get the interview. So it is so important. I mean, just like you said, if you mow grass, we have a huge turf department. I mean, mowers, a lot of our locations are primarily turf because that's just the clientele. We provide mowers for Churchill Downs. I mean, so people right in the middle of Louisville, this is still real. I mean, this is still what we're doing. We're not going to run a combine there, but that doesn't mean our business isn't there. So, and
And SAEs, they should be
yes,
talking about that. That
yes,
on their,
yes,
yeah, regardless
yes.
of what your SAE is, talk about that experience.
Any experience or skills that you have that could help you get this job, you need to put on there. And if you're not, you have just failed yourself. So don't do that. Whenever if I'm talking to 10 kids in a class, what I tell them is, I only hire one of you all. So you've got to make yourself appear better for the position that I'm hiring for. Not to say you're putting your other peers down, but ultimately you have to sell yourself to me for me to be able to hire you. So that is just, I mean, that is the number one. You've got to put that on there, and that's not natural for kids to brag.
I think a great piece though for students to hear, especially if they're like, "Oh, I hate doing this. I don't want to make a resume. I don't want this,"
know.
is that, you get those templates that come up and it's like education and here's all these degrees you can have. It's okay. Flip it around. Start with skills and work experience. If you're applying for
Yes,
skilled trade jobs, change that and list all of those things there. Lead with what you're really great at. And then at the bottom,
yes,
if you have a general diploma from this school, stick it there.
yeah. I mean, yes, because you're going to get a diploma. I mean, so that's just some of this stuff that we're putting on there is everybody else it matches,
Right.
So
Right.
I think the key is to find what is it about you that doesn't match but would match with us, because the other thing, to the other side of this, is I'm not looking for, I mean, if we catch one, great, but I'm not out there seeking out a 30 ACT score and a valedictorian. I don't, that's not typically the type of person that's going to go into the service department. They're very smart, but they're very smart in a different way. So ease up on now. I also expect you to have a little initiative. So you don't need to be failing everything, when we are looking at employees for any department, the number one thing we're looking for is a willingness to work.
Yeah.
Are you willing to come in and roll your sleeves up and get to work? And that doesn't matter if it's marketing or if it's service. Are you willing to do what's asked of you and do it well? And you were talking about those templates, and I'm glad you brought that up with those resumes, because one of my pet peeves, remember, I taught English. But one of my pet peeves is when they'll pull up a template and they'll fill those things out, and then they get lazy, right? And then a body of one of those says that Lauren Ipsum, whatever on the next,
standard.
and they leave that in there. And I'm like, it would have taken you 3 seconds to delete that out. You know, that is, what are you doing? Don't do that, because
Yeah,
what
pay
that
attention to
tells
detail.
me, what that tells me is you didn't want to give more than 5 minutes on this resume. And then I think, do you have the willingness to work? Because if you're not willing to spend some time on making a resume look good, I don't know that you're willing to get in here and let's say that you have a problem with a tractor, you're ready to give up in 5 minutes. So, you know, that translates, you know. So I definitely think that attention to detail goes a long way. I'm not looking for huge words. I'm not looking for that stuff. I need to see, are you willing to work? And how do you spend your free time? Do you know, if you have a job, that's great. If you don't have a job, but it's because you play football, that I'm fine with that. I just need to know, how do you spend your time? Because what I found is resumes that are empty, that usually tells you what kind of person you're going to get. Somebody that's not involved, somebody that's not interested, you know, those kinds of things. So no, there's not a cookie cutter. I need you to be this. I need you to, you know, I don't need you to be the president of the FFA. I don't. But I need to see what you can bring to us.
If you've ever competed in the ag mechanics contest, or you've given
Yes,
a speech, or you've done that, that
yes,
matters. Yeah, I
it
love
does
it.
matter.
Mark your calendars for Give FFA Day 2025.
This February 20th, we're celebrating the 10th Give FFA Day. This is a day focused on giving back to Kentucky FFA so that its members can continue to build communities, grow leaders, and strengthen agriculture. With your help, Kentucky FFA members can have a once-in-a-lifetime experience without financial burden.
Your gift on Give FFA Day matters. FFA members are able to expand their SAE projects, attend leadership training events, participate in contests, and even wear their very own blue corduroy FFA jacket.
If you believe in the mission of FFA, we ask that you give enthusiastically on February 20th at kyffa.org.
Are you interested in doing more? You should be a Give FFA Day ambassador. Simply sign up through our weekly newsletter. You can make sure you're receiving the newsletter by clicking the link in our show notes. We look forward to seeing you and your gift on February 20th.
Sarah, this is such valuable information for so many people to hear. If we have teachers that are listening and they're thinking, I want more, I need her to come to my classroom and talk. You know, I'm looking at KentuckyFFAWorks.com. There are jobs right next door to us.
Yes.
How should our teachers reach out to you to initiate that meeting?
So 2 ways, email or phone. And you can either call me or text me. I don't care. Some people, it's just way easier to shoot a text and roll on. But my email is sbutler@wrightimp.com. WRIGHTIMP.com. Y'all are going to link that.
We can put it in our show notes too.
And then my cell number is 270-668-7192. It's my personal cell number. I don't care. I don't care if the kids have it and want to reach out to me for a job. I don't care if teachers do. My role is to help you. So now I would like to get some hires out of it, you know, but at the same time, until I get there, I don't know if I'm going to get that or not. So I've done all kinds of things. I have judged FFA competitions. I actually judged a regional one not long ago, and it was resume writing and cover letters. So that was pretty fun. But I'll come work with your kids on that. I will do mock interviews if you want to do that. Now, if you just want me to talk about Wright Implement and our opportunities, I'm happy to do that too. But I think a lot of teaching is using your resources. And if you have people like me who are willing to get in the car and drive to you, use them. I mean, that's, that you all, teachers, you all are so awesome and you're so valuable, but you also are worn out. So if you get tired of repeating the same thing over and over about cover letters and resumes, I'll say it, and sometimes it does carry different weight with somebody else. So please reach out. I would love to continue that relationship, and I would love even more for more kids to apply to Kentucky FFA Works so I can try to get them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
that's a
was going
win
to
for
shout
all of
out,
us.
the website is kyffaworks.com. If you click the Wright Implement logo on the homepage, it's going to take you to the jobs that are going to be posted for 2025 that they are seeking employees for. Show those to your students. Students, take a look at that. Sarah's contact information is also on that page. We want this to work for everyone. This has been
Yes.
so valuable, such a valuable conversation for so many different listeners that we have. Sarah, we do always end our podcast with asking our guests the same 3 questions. We talk a lot about leadership and philanthropy as well. So our first of those is just, what motivates you as a leader?
So I did think about these beforehand, but I think the main thing that motivates me as a leader is the team that I'm with. So for us, our HR team is wonderful, but also the vice presidents of the different departments that we have. So the vice president of aftermarket services, so he's over the service department. Seeing their excitement for new people, young people, people that are excited about the career. I think sometimes seeing my excitement for getting them, I think that kind of pumps all of us up, So I definitely think part of leadership is who you surround yourself with. And for me, I've been very lucky in the school system. I had a great team there. I have a great team now. But I definitely think surround yourself with good people. And some of that just comes naturally, just when you have a good team, you want to do good things. So
And you attract good people around you too. Like your
well,
energy
thank you.
attracts like-minded people. You certainly do.
Thank you.
You make friends
Thanks.
everywhere you go. I know that.
I know a lot of people. The girls at work are like, you really know somebody everywhere we go. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah. Well, our next question is about philanthropy. FFA Foundation, we're a philanthropy. You can give in time, talent, treasure to all kinds of different causes. But we want to ask you, what's been the most meaningful way you have gotten to engage in philanthropy that's really meant a lot?
Kids. That's always been my passion. That continues to be my passion. I knew at 6 years old that I wanted to be a teacher. So it's funny, my first grade teacher was a nun, and I told my mom I wanted to be a nun. But when it came down to it, it's because she was a teacher. But I think that I've just always wanted to help people. And honestly, if this job came along and it wasn't a way to be able to do that, it would not have been a good fit for me. So I've helped kids in a lot of different ways, and I want to continue to do that. But that is my motivator. And my personal life, I don't have children, but I spend a lot of time on a lot of other people's children, and I think it does take a village. And I think that my kids at Vincennes, they will tell you that I'm on them like their mom is, but that's because I have expectations, and kids deal well with that. You set those and they'll reach them. And that's why FFA is so strong, because you all set those high expectations, and kids really respond well to that.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's good. It's
Doing great
clear
work.
that's your passion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, finally, this is our fun one. It's just, what's something you cannot stop talking about right now?
Well, we didn't touch on this, but I'm really glad we're going to be able to. So other than Kentucky FFA Works, because that's so exciting, just the importance of students job shadowing, interning, co-oping, any way that before you graduate, you can get into some of these careers and see what's out there. Any way you can do that, it is time well spent. The job shadowing, I really wish schools and businesses would utilize that more often. I think that you can quickly see if, yes, this is something I would like to learn more about, or no. I thought I was going to do that forever, and all of a sudden that is not what I thought that was going to be. So those are so important, and we set those up a lot. So If that's something that students you are listening to, and I've said something that you think, hey, maybe I could do something there, or maybe I just want to see, maybe I don't know that I want to, but I just want to come in and see what it's like. I will set that up. I will come to that store. I'll meet you there and we'll talk through some things. So just not skipping those great opportunities.
Yeah. Man, I've probably told the story on this podcast over and over, but I got to job shadow my senior year of high school, and I thought I wanted to do something in the medical field. And I got to just be in the medical, like in a doctor's office, and immediately I was like, it's not for me.
You're
And
right.
thank goodness I had that experience before I pursued. It took me 2 days of being like, nope,
Yes.
I can't do this. And that's
Yes.
a skill that students can have.
And how many people go to college and get in their 4th year and say, I don't want to do this anymore? And
Oh, yeah.
then the money that you have just, and the other thing too, I think we need to stop. I didn't do this for a long time, fortunately, but we have people that continue to say you have to go to college. Stop doing that. If what you want to do is going to require college or it's going to help you, do it. But if not, save your money. You know, do what's going to suit you the best and what's going to fit the best. And it may be college, but it may not. So I just think take some time and think about that.
And it may be college 2 years from now.
That's
You know
right.
what you need, you know,
That's
instead of
right.
aspiring the debt to like, I'm figuring it out by taking all these expensive classes. There's
Yes.
ways around it too. So,
And it's more expensive than ever for anybody to start out right now. Don't compound that by taking classes and when you don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, you know? So
yeah.
just think about those things.
Sarah, you have been just a light in our life in this past year, like getting to meet you with Wright Implement. You've met so many of our teachers and students, and it's so clear that you are so passionate about young people and helping them connect. And you're in the perfect role where you are, and you've been a perfect advocate for us to work with. So
Thank you. Thank
Look forward
you.
to this next year and all the great things that are to come. And I hope you have a wealth of super Kentucky FFA Works candidates.
For sure. Thank you. And I will say, I've not been in nearly enough classrooms. So teachers, if you're watching this, listening to this, I need you to get a hold of me if I haven't come to visit you yet. So
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I'm making a note of this. Okay.
yes,
Well,
sounds
Sarah,
good.
thank you for being with us. And you
All right.
thank you for joining us on another episode of Growing Kentucky's Leaders. Growing Kentucky's Leaders is a podcast brought to you by the Kentucky FFA Foundation. Our music is performed by Bourbon County FFA member Joe Fritch. Artwork is by Julie Fritch Creative. Your hosts are Sheldon McKinney and Ruth Ann Fink, and you can find us on all social platforms at Kentucky FFA.